Hello? Alright, I asked you guys to send in scary videos. And you answered. You guys have sent me 150 videos that are supposed to be scary. If they are scary, I will gift 5 subs. Yeah, track the gift subs. Track the gift subs. If they are not scary, I will take your points away. And you will not have points. So let's see if you can scare the shit out of me. We won't be able to do much today. We're just gonna do a couple of them today. And then we'll do a couple more later on in the week. But I wanted to do a few today. Because I saw one video where I'm like, the title. Wait, did I say 5 subs? I meant 1 sub. What is that? What is that angry face? No, Baxies. Okay, fine. 5 subs. Okay, fine. I'm a man of my word. I'm a woman of my word. That's so much money? Don't worry, I'm not gonna get scared. I'm the bravest woman on earth. Me scared?
You buy Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. Get a whole month free at mubi.com/speakingmovies.
Okay, Mubi.
There was a time on the internet where everyone was talking about thalassophobia, the fear of deep water. I, for one, was terrified of the images and videos linked to this term because, yeah. However, these are by no means an accurate representation of thalassophobia, as the severity of the phobia can greatly vary, with some people being triggered by the mere thought of the ocean. These, like the infamous trypophobia test, which, by the way, isn't even recognized as an official diagnosis in DSM-5-TR.
What is going on with my internet today, bro? Hello? Is the internet dying?
Cater to the basic human evolutionary response rather than an irrational fear. For instance, what do you think is repeating in these photos? For one, there is the element of the unknown. The ocean is a mysterious place. We as humans have apparently mapped out less than 10% of the global ocean, and the images are highlighting that lack of clarity, the remoteness of the ocean. It's also very dark, and darkness is a prepared fear, so there's that. But more importantly, there is usually something else in the photo, something very big.
A creature.
Now, there is a scientific term for intense fear of large objects, megalophobia. But being afraid of giant things, especially when they are alive, is more or less in line with our evolutionary history, as it increases our survival rate. I'll stop here because I'm not an expert on this subject. If you want more information, it may be better you go do your own research beyond this point.
God, wait.
What I'm trying to say is that being scared of these photos is
Bro, that shit. I saw this documentary of like people diving. Have you guys seen this? There's this documentary on Netflix. Well, it's about like people. It was called like the longest breath or whatever. And it's about people that were like doing deep sea diving, where like they dive all the way to the bottom of the ocean and like grab a thing on one breath. That documentary scared the shit out of me because they like showed footage of them like diving and going deep down into the water. They just take on one breath, they dive so many fucking meters. Holy shit. You should watch that documentary. It's really scary. It's on Netflix. It's on the Netflix. It's on the Netflix. I can't believe people have many people drowned. There have been people that have died doing the deep diving. I think one of them actually went missing, but there has been people that died because they dive so far down, and then they come up so fast. It's like, I didn't know, but in the documentary they were like talking about how like when you dive underwater and you go down deep enough, you start sinking, and like your lungs like crumple up inside of you and shit. And I'm like, the pressure.
Rather normal response if you are a human.
The freediving world record is 2-4. Yeah, it's the documentary is about the freediving people, the freediving world record people. It shows there was like a Japanese woman and then another woman. I think she was like Italian or something like that. It was pretty crazy watching them dive. They actually showed footage of them going down, and I'm just like, oh my god. I don't want to spoil too much because a lot of crazy shit happens in it, but you should definitely watch it. Hello.
It doesn't mean everyone will freak out, but simply that it's okay if you did, and that it doesn't necessarily mean you have thalassophobia. But the ocean is everywhere. We see it all the time because we live on Earth. So what happens if you fly away? I remember people having similar discussions online years back with images of planets. How the vastness of outer space and the size of Neptune, for instance, scares the living shit out of them. Referring back to what we just discussed, this should be a no-brainer. Not only is space bigger and more mysterious than the ocean, but it's also inherently more intimidating because we've never been to space. It's too foreign. But that is exactly why some people will have no emotional response to these photos, because it is too unreal and too distant from reality. And I get that because I was one of those people. Until I tried Google Earth VR, standing in front of the sun, floating like a helpless dust.
Oh god!
That made me panic. And since then, nothing's been the same. My natural response to this newfound terror as a film lover, of course, was to revisit all science fiction films I've watched over the years to see which one best captures the horror of outer space. The fun part of this activity was that the film itself didn't have to be categorized in the horror genre or be scientifically accurate in its depictions, although it would be nice if it was. All it really needed to do...
Oh my god, am I gonna have to do Google Earth VR to see... Oh Jesus, that is terrifying. That sounds so scary. That sounds so scary to me. Why is my nose bleeding again? What the fuck? What is happening to me? I had a really bad headache yesterday, and I had a bad headache this morning, but it went away. And I ended up I've been getting nosebleeds since yesterday. Like, but it's almost like a continuous nosebleed that like leaks out of my nose, like really slow, and then it stops, and then it starts again, and then stops, and then starts again, and then stops, and then starts again. Oh my god. My brain is growing! Yeah! I have a pressure problem. I've taken all my meds. I checked my blood pressure. It's fine. Dry air. I have a dehumidifier. I have a thingy in my room. I also changed the humidifier in my oxygen thing because I'm on oxygen all the time. So my brain is leaking out. Help! Help! My brain! Help! Help my brain! It's so small.
Was effectively capture the essence of the unknown that would trigger a primitive fear reaction. The best way to do this in cinema is to link this near transcendental concept with an equally complex film language and keep the more apparent story somewhat independent. That probably made no sense, so let me give you an oversimplified example.
What do you mean?
Let's say you're watching a film about ghosts. which would be more effective in building tension, conveying their presence exclusively through audio and camera work, or outright showing them on screen from the start.
Hello? Hello?
If you chose the first option, that's what I meant. If you chose the second, you're gonna hate this video. Anyways, to follow this personal criteria, I had to disqualify some great candidates like Gravity, Event Horizon, or even High Life, which portrayed with excellence the suffocating isolation of being in a spaceship away.
Oh my god, I hated this movie so much. And it's not because it was bad. It was a great movie, but this movie scared the absolute utter shit out of me. What was the name of this movie? Does anybody remember? Is it Gravity? High Life. Yes, the one with Robert Pattinson. Dude. This movie was so fucking scary. It scared the shit out of me. There is a... Can I spoil a part in this movie? Can I spoil one tiny thing? I just have to explain what happens. The scene that scared me. There is a part in this movie. I think it was this movie, right? When the girl gets inside the... She gets in, Is it? Yeah, it's... So there's a part in this movie where the girl basically leaves in like an escape pod. And she travels. I don't know why what brings her to do this. But she like leaves to go into a black hole. And they show her like basically do the whole like spaghettification shit. And I'm like... Girl, why would you go in there? Oh yeah. I think it's because she found out that like they're like never leaving the facility or so. Was it something like that? I think they found out that they were like stuck there forever, and like the scientist that was on board was like manipulating shit and like experimenting on them or some shit. I don't fucking remember why, but she essentially left because she wanted to like, you know, she wanted to off herself. And she did it by jumping into a fucking black hole. And I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, unalive herself. She wanted to unalive herself. Yeah, they basically forced her to have a baby, I think. But it was just like, it scared the absolute shit out of me.
Away from everyone.
Bro. What is going on?
One and everything. Because these films relied mostly on the nature of the story itself, conveying a sense of dread or urgency only through events that unfold as a result of a narrative conflict. This sounds generalized, and I can elaborate, but for now, just know that they weren't enough. I wanted an unprecedented, visceral cinematic experience. Enter Stanley Kubrick.
Oh no, not a Kubrick film!
What 2001 A Space Odyssey does better than any other films on the list is visual storytelling, transcending traditional narrative techniques to evoke a sense of wonder and awe, underlining the omnipotence of the universe and in turn highlighting our insignificance as human beings. One of the most obvious visual techniques is the camera work, which stays static for the most part actually, but it's not a regular fixed shot because the average shot length, or ASL for short, of this film is 13.5 seconds, almost 4 seconds longer than other English language films in the 1960s and 3 times longer than films today. This type of prolonged static shots produce a sense of objectivity, where the audience takes on the role of a bystander rather than an active participant. Now, you may think that objectivity then is an enemy of immersion, but that is not necessarily the case, as when done right, static shots can simultaneously intensify the scene by allowing the audience to dwell on a specific emotional energy of the presented image. If anything, that heightens immersion. Take the first and the last sequence of the film. By locking the characters within the boundaries of the frame, the film strips away their autonomy and paints them as some kind of a test subject, while assigning the audience as the conductor of an experiment. This pushes the audience to associate themselves with the arcane monolith instead of the more relatable characters, a fittingly twisted concept for a film about the unknown. Of course, because the opening sequence required complex setup with background projections and real animals, the decision to avoid dynamic camera movements in this section could partly be attributed to technical limitations. But whatever the motive, the result is an effective one.
Not the bone!
Now, what spices up the motionless visuals are jolting edits that happen whenever a person is on screen.
Those spacesuits
The shot
are
will
so
often
crazy.
cut
What the
abruptly
heck?
to an unexpected angle, crossing the axis of action,
sticks
or
out
to a
so
zoomed
much.
version of the same shot
Whoa.
while a character is
What are these crazy seats? Space seats! They're space seats! Space seats! They look like the fucking... They look like chairs you would sit in at a spa.
speaking. This may seem trivial at first, but over time it ends up downplaying the importance of individuality by implying the presence of a higher being observing humanity. Additionally, the camera's fixation on non-human elements of the film, like spaceships, buttons, or even HAL, the supercomputer, gradually builds rapport between the audience and the non-living objects, accentuating the correlation between technological advancement and the decline of meaningful human interaction. The last technique, which is my favorite, is an audio-visual one that mixes camera work with objects, settings, and even scores. Kubrick flawlessly links these elements together through two geometric figures that command the visual language of 2001:
That
A
looks
Space
like,
Odyssey. Circles and lines, each representing the cyclic and linear aspects of existence. Through the interplay of these shapes, Kubrick delivers
That's like
the
a floating
scariest
space
and the
weaver.
most vital quality of this film and
A
the
pecker?
universe: entrapment.
Nothing.
In most of the pivotal scenes, objects and settings with spherical identities dominate the screen, with Johann Strauss' Blue Danube, set in 3/4 waltz time known for its cyclic feeling, playing in the background. Residing within this overwhelmingly spherical world are the subtle linear elements, long corridors and paths that create spatial
What the fuck? What? Oh my god, I can't unsee it now. Tell me what you think those chairs look like. Ladies? Any ladies? Any ladies in the chat? Among Us? I mean, I can kind of see Among Us. But honestly, these look like fucking Lush. They look like fucking Lush toys. They look like vibrators. What the fuck? A luscious landscape. Ooh, ah. What? Oh, that's right. Are they on that floating cylinder circle thing? Vibrating chairs. They're on a
linearity.
circle.
This
Wait a minute. Wait, how the fuck does this make sense?
long corridors and paths that create
If they're on that... Okay, I'm assuming they're on that big ass fucking wheel, right? That wheel in space. Are you telling me that the wheel is rotating in space and they're just like moving around this wheel and like sometimes it'll be upside down and it's fine? How does this work? It's in the future? No wonder my nose keeps bleeding. I don't know science.
Spatial linearity. This juxtaposition highlights the duality of the film universe, that while the external world operates in a spherical manner, the mechanisms within are directed linearly. The film also utilizes linear camera work, such as tail-on and head-on shots and portrait shot reverse shots, to create a directional focus, a sense of linear progression within the film. These techniques guide the audience along a straight path, suggesting a predetermined endpoint.
Whoa, that's
But like
crazy.
the relationship humanity has with the linearly shaped monolith, what envelopes the lines is a cyclic universe. Its lack of vertices constantly affirmed by the tilted shots. They control and oversee everything, eventually leading humanity to the next evolutionary step.
Whoa, look at that bed. What the fuck? Oh my god. Holy shit, all that bed for that one old man? That's crazy.
A cyclic repetition. Birth, death, and a new beginning. This repetition. Birth, death, and a new beginning.
Is that a fucking baby? Is that a baby? Is that a baby in space, floating in space? Is that a little baby?
Beginning. This is how 2001: A Space Odyssey generates a feeling of entrapment, supervision, and insignificance. It's a colliding factor where we as an individual feel trapped, running inside a hamster wheel, but our struggles and endeavors are given no spotlight. We never learn the history nor the aftermath of the different protagonists, events, and even the monolith. The human characters are but a dot in this infinite universe, their words holding no significance. This is why the camera distracts the audience from the characters, why there are different protagonists, and why the majority of the film is silent. Even when characters do speak, their words are either unintelligible, de-emphasized, or are treated as filler conversations.
What do you think? I'm not sure. What do you think?
In its third act, the film goes as
I'm not sure. What do you think?
far as to introduce the two protagonists, David and Frank, through a recording and not their real selves.
Wait, in the third act of the movie? I'll be honest, I've never seen this movie.
We have no say in the face of the universe. Its potential's infinite and its power immeasurable. Its movement flows like a ghost following a target,
what do you
while handheld shots are reserved only for the vulnerable human characters. As beautiful and
I just know Kubrick films are crazy as fuck.
inspiring as it is, 2001: A Space Odyssey
I just
is
haven't
an
seen this one.
equally haunting film that captures the immensity of outer space, extending beyond the borders of the screen. This is cinema.
But are they as weird as Cronenberg? I don't know. Have you ever seen Naked Lunch? That's a pretty fucking crazy movie if you ask me.
Fine. Thanks very much.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. There are so many details and cool tricks hidden in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and
Fucking internet! Don't fuck with me!
although I didn't get to talk about them all, I had so much
I'm gonna
fun.
fucking krill my internet right now. What the fuck is happening? Is the internet dying? What is happening?
I didn't get to talk about them all. I had so much fun making this one, so if you're still here, thank you again for
I'm still
watching.
here.
Also, like I said, there were plenty of other sci-fi films that I thought were worthy of discussion.
Is that a fucking keyboard on the desk? Is that light on the desk making you think that there's a keyboard there? Is that a hologram keyboard? A laser keyboard. They sell that? That's a real thing? Ugh, I would hate that. Ugh, gross. Why the fuck would I want that? I don't want to tap my fingers on my desk repeatedly. What the fuck?
So I highly recommend you
Who would want something like that? That's so stupid. Ew.
check them all out, especially Claire Denis' High Life, which is a
Oh
trip
my god, that's the girl going in.
to say the least. And if you're in Canada like I am, you can actually watch High Life for free today thanks to our sponsor, Mubi. Mubi is a curated streaming service dedicated to...
Hashtag ad. Okay, well, I wouldn't say that this was scary, but thank you. I appreciate it. It wasn't scary, though. It wasn't scary. So, I'm taking your points. But it was very interesting, so thank you very much. How is this scary?
Okay, hold up. Can I get a coffee though?
Yeah. You want me to get my Gundam?
Get in the Gundam.
How is this scary?
If you say so.
Get in the Gundam.
I have to take medicine soon.
All right, no worries. Do you need to take it now or soon? What's soon?
No, not now.
Because I'm gonna take a quick break to get a coffee. So if you want to do it now,
Go take your coffee.
oh yeah,
Oh, are you saying it's scary because he showed his injury? Bro, that's not
wait,
scary.
you
What
gonna do
the
it now?
fuck?
We can double up
What
on
the fuck is wrong with you?
before gaming.
No.
What the fuck
I
is
thought
wrong
it
with
was-
you?
I thought it was 9. It's not 9.
Oh, okay. All right, well, give me a sec then. I'll be.
I'm here.
Keep the
don't
chat
worry.
entertained.
Okay.
My leg's still fucked up, chat.
Oh my
Oh.
god. That looked so bad. My god.
Look at the colors.
Connor!
The rainbow.
Oh my god, the flesh of a white man. So scary.
Are you? Oh my god. Connor. What the fuck, man?
You need to take care of yourself, you stupid. How is this? This isn't scary. I'm taking your fucking points. Anyway, oh my god, this idiot. He always does stupid shit. Taking your fucking points. Turning him into a zombie? Yeah, that was a terrible bruise. Yeah, because he has hemophilia and
So
he
how
doesn't
many
think
are
about taking
sending
care of
these,
himself.
ironically, and how many didn't realize it was supposed to be scary videos only?
No. Ooh. What is this? I love Defunct Land.
What attraction should I do for a spooky episode this year? I know. I'll just go to a nondescript listicle site that does minimal research in a lazy but effective attempt to capitalize on nostalgia and familiarity. Well, what do you know? The top 3 scariest defunct Disney attractions. Let's see. No, already did that. Ugh. Did that one twice. Wait a minute. What is this?
Whoa, what the fuck?
What the hell?
Below the earth, in the deepest depths of hell, is where dead and forgotten rot and dwell. But the souls beneath are not those of friends. Instead, it's theme park rides that have met their end. They go to defunct hell. All of the fun they bid farewell.
Tokyo
Disney
Disneyland
Universe
Cinderella
and
Castle
Cedar
Mystery
Fair.
Tour.
Now most of Six Flags is down there. They go to defunct hell.
Did they just
In
say
1970
Six Flags is in hell?
1991, the Walt Disney Company purchased an option to adapt author Lloyd Alexander's
What is going on with my internet?
5-part series, The Chronicles of Prydain, into a feature film. At the time of the purchase, Walt Disney Pictures was beginning to feel the effects of Walt Disney's death 5 years prior.
What is the
And while
Chronicles
Walt
of-
Disney series, the Walt Disney Company purchased an option to adapt author Lloyd Alexander's 5-part series, The Chronicles of Prydain, into a feature
Chronicles
film.
of Prydain?
At the time of the purchase, Walt Disney Pictures was beginning to feel the effects of Walt Disney's death 5 years prior. And while the company had been working without their leader for some time, they had expended many of the movie concepts that he had discussed or had already set in motion. This meant that the studio would have to find new source material on their own that would align with the Walt Disney brand
hand
without the
painting.
help of Walt Disney. The company's animation division, tasked with releasing a new animated feature once every 3 to 4 years, first turned to concepts that Walt had once considered. This resulted in 1973's Robin Hood and 1977's The Rescuers, but the company quickly realized that digging through Walt's trash was not a blueprint for future success. Due to a variety of pre-production issues, the Chronicles of Prydain adaptation, originally slated for a 1980 release, was pushed back to 1984, with The Fox and the Hound taking the 1980 slot. Production on The Fox and the Hound was rocky to say the least, with internal fights breaking out among producers and animators. The arguments always seem to come back to the question of what would Walt have done, and more often than not, the winner of the argument had the idea that felt the most Disney. By the time the Chronicles of Prydain adaptation, now working with the title The Black Cauldron, entered production in 1980, the what would Walt do mindset was proving to be counterintuitive. It became clear that it was impossible to mimic a creator that was known for pushing creative boundaries. Because of this, the Black Cauldron team was allowed to take a more ambitious route for the animated film. A darker, more epic tale than most of Disney's features. It also helped that fantasy interpretations of medieval times was at peak popularity. The early 80s loved castles and knights almost as much as the late 2000s loved vampires and werewolves. The film centered around a young farmhand named Taran, a psychic pig, and a sinister villain named the Horned King. The film's storyline was often unclear, and it had drifted quite a ways from its source material. The Black Cauldron was set to release in 1984. However, that same year, a management shakeup at the Walt Disney Company resulted in Michael Eisner, Frank Wells, and Jeffrey Katzenberg joining the company. After seeing a test screening of The Black Cauldron, Katzenberg, the new head of Walt Disney Studios, was horrified at the product, claiming that it was too intense for a family audience. He demanded that the film be edited, not fully realizing that an animated film cannot be edited the same as the live-action productions he was used to working on. After the animation team explained this to him, Katzenberg became frustrated and stormed off to edit the film on his own. The film's producers called CEO Michael Eisner, who was able to convince Katzenberg to stop and calm down. The film was eventually edited, with over 10 minutes of the more graphic sections of the movie being cut. The film's release was delayed to 1985, where it debuted in July as the first Disney animated feature to receive a PG rating. The film, taking over a decade to produce, cost an estimated $44 million, making it the most expensive animated film at the time of its release. Critics praised the technical aspects of the film, but lauded its storyline and characters. It grossed just over $21 million at the box office, resulting in an over $20 million loss for the Walt Disney Company. The film's failure made the new executive team question the existence of the company's animation department, with Eisner, Wells, and Katzenberg seriously considering transitioning to a solely live-action model for Disney. The Black Cauldron was a failure and an embarrassment, and merchandising the film was certainly out of the question. Almost all of the Walt Disney Company wanted to forget its existence. Almost.
Now, there's Tokyo Disneyland. The Japanese may not be buying our cars, but they are buying our culture. Here's American industrial robots telling the history of Japan. Program not to mention World War II.
Jesus.
So, while the band plays on, Japan's eating it all up like rice. In its first year...
What the fuck is this commentary? Holy shit.
Tokyo Disneyland expects 10 million visitors. The mouse biz is big biz in Tokyo these days. Now, if they'd only buy our Chevrolets...
That casual racism is scarier than any jump scare I could come up with.
Oh, Defunctland. Bro. Calling it like he sees it. Calling it like he sees it. Bro, what the fuck was that shit? I can't believe that's how, like, shit was, like, talked about. What the fuck? Holy shit.
On April 15th, 1983, 2 years before the Black Cauldron's debut, Tokyo Disneyland opened, a joint venture between the Walt Disney Company and the Japan-based developer, the Oriental Land Company. Tokyo Disneyland was immensely popular right out of the gate, with attendance figures similar and often better than the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland. This was good news for the Walt Disney Company, although many executives were disappointed that the profit from one of the company's biggest successes in the last decade had to be shared. Disney and the Oriental Land Company did not reinvent the wheel for Tokyo Disneyland, and the park is very similar to the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. This is most obvious with the park's icon, Cinderella Castle, but the two nearly identical structures have a key difference. In the Magic Kingdom, Cinderella Castle hosts the popular restaurant, Cinderella's Royal Table. This is absent in the Tokyo Disneyland version. On opening day, there was nothing but closed doors where the entrance to Cinderella's Royal Table was supposed to be. This was because the castle was not meant to host a restaurant. It would instead house an attraction named Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour, a creepy walk through the castle's dungeons complete with encounters with famous Disney villains. A manager in the Oriental Land
A walk
Company
through a
described the
dungeon?
unique setup as Cinderella Castle is Tokyo Disneyland's symbol, and Mystery Tour is its ride. The idea for Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour came from the fact that any attraction utilizing the castle space would have to take place underground. This inspired the idea of the castle having dungeons that guests could tour.
Oh my
Mystery Tour
God.
takes inspiration from a Japanese ghost house. Both have labyrinth structures depicting scenes of horror, and both showcase terrifying
So basically
monsters.
like a haunted
The story
house.
that the Imagineers created had the magic mirror from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs taking on a recurring role. But this caused a slight hiccup in the attraction's production. The Imagineers felt that the magic mirror would not be recognizable if its actor's face was, quote, distinctly Japanese. However, they were also aware that the voice, language, and dialect could not be American. In order to meet these self-imposed restrictions, Imagineers had Tokyo Disneyland's entertainment division translate and record the lines for the mirror. They then took those recordings and filmed an American actor lip-syncing to them back in the United States. At the time of its opening, Tokyo Disneyland still used the A-to-E ticket book system. This required guests to purchase an admission ticket to get in, and additional tickets to ride the attractions in the park, typically buying them in a ticket book which held—
You had to buy a ticket book to get into the park and tickets to ride the rides? Ugh. Oh man, that sucks.
multiple ride tickets. The attractions were ranked in ticket categories from A to E, with A being for the more mundane rides and E being for the more thrilling attractions. The Castle Mystery Tour was listed as a D attraction, placing it among the ranks of the Country Bear Jamboree and the Enchanted Tiki Room. The tour was presented with the tagline, "Can you conquer the evil forces of the Disney villains in the castle?" Guests would gather outside of the attraction's entrance, located on the backside of Cinderella Castle. They would then be welcomed in groups of around 20 to 30 people, being led by a cast member, typically female, wearing a uniform similar to the huntsman from Snow White. The tour was reliant on the cast member spiel, a ride style that
I
was
feel
rarely
like a lot of
implemented.
Disney rides
The
are like
Jungle
that,
Cruise
bro. A lot of Disney rides are like that. That the cast member doing the whole role playing thing carries the whole
and the
damn
Great
ride.
Movie Ride are two of the only Disney attractions to utilize it. A spiel ride typically provides cast members with a pre-approved script. It is then their responsibility to memorize and repeat all of the information while hitting all of the beats. This is to ensure the guests receive all of the necessary exposition to understand the ride, and often
Oh
more
man, imagine being that type of cast member that you have to write a ride and you have a prepared script that you have to memorize, and you have to basically put on that performance every day from 9 to 5 every 15 to 20 minutes. And not only that, not only do you have to memorize the fucking script and you need to say everything for like word per word, you have to rehearse because there will be times of improv if somebody acts crazy or some shit, and you need to add in some improv into that shit. Holy shit. It's time to put on the mask. Also getting paid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Disney employees get paid that much. How much do Disney attraction actors make? $15 an hour. The base pay, which is the total estimated base pay. The average salary for a cast member is $38,000 a year. But you know what? You work at Disney. I mean, come on. You work at Disney. It's a dream come true. I swear to God.
More importantly, to allow the cast member to believably interact with
Disneyland. I'm gonna kill my internet! What is happening?
the attraction's characters and props. Within these requirements, the cast members are generally encouraged to stick to the script while also making it their own. This personalization can take the form of timing preferences, body language and delivery, and sometimes, though mostly discouraged, script changes. The Mystery Castle tour was unique in that the cast member had to both give a spiel and navigate guests through the attraction, since there was no tracked ride vehicle to do this for them. The exact wording of the script mixed traditional Japanese courtesy with the casual speaking style that is expected from Disney's cast members. This was one of the more difficult aspects of training Japanese cast members, since their culture is very specific when it comes to communication and service roles. Guests are given a short introduction describing the tour of Cinderella Castle that they are going to receive. Those on the tour will be treated to areas such as the gallery, the ballroom, and the tower. The guide leads them into the first room, pointing out portraits of famous Disney heroes: Princess Aurora, Pinocchio, Snow White, and Taran from the Black Cauldron. Just as the guide begins to applaud the heroes and their victories against the villains, the magic mirror shows up on one of the walls, displeased that the villains are being demeaned once again. The portraits on the walls change from the heroes to their coinciding villains.
Oh shit, the villains. Anyone immediately remembers the way the water smells Disney? They don't need water
Magic
smell!
Mirror continues to argue with the guide. The mirror wishes to showcase the power of the villains, and challenges the tour group to enter the mysterious dungeons of the castle, with a door on the wall swinging open on its own. The guide is surprised and urges guests to follow her through the door and down a large staircase, descending 2 stories. Guests walk past prison bars and can hear bats screeching around them. The guide comes up on a spooky laboratory, with a book open to a recipe for poison apples. Miscellaneous magical science equipment is indiscriminately scattered throughout the corner of the room. The witch's shadow can be seen as a crow rocks back and forth on a skull. The guide decides to leave before the witch shows up, taking us down a series of dark tunnels. The witch is heard laughing as they escape.
This is terrifying.
The group walks further into the dungeon, with the magic mirror appearing to be reflected down a corridor. They quickly encounter a scene of a swinging axe controlled by a knight. The scene
Bro, ain't no way kids can go on this. What the heck?
It's even scarier when a previously still set of knight's armor begins to shake in fear. A chest along the wall is pushed open by living skeletons, and the guide screams and gives chase. During the flee, guests pass a short corridor, where a projection of the Night on Bald Mountain portion of Fantasia plays, showing Chernobog gathering his army of demons. The guide quickly directs guests away from the scene, walking a bit before stopping at what appears to be a peaceful water feature. However, Maleficent's minions appear in the water below, threatening guests to either leave or face the evils of their master. As guests rush down the hallway, the goons follow, peeking their heads through holes in the dungeon walls. Guests get a glimpse of the outside of a castle, with a lightning storm swirling around it. After this, a talking skull warns guests not to continue, but the guide pushes on. The group then enters the Cave of the Hidden Jewels, filled from top to bottom with shiny golds and diamonds. The guide is thrilled, but a lightning strike reveals that they are not alone in the room. A large dragon roars as steam escapes its jaws. The guide waves guests out of the room and into an elevator. Everyone is relieved, until the voice of a demon echoes throughout the lift, revealing that he is controlling the ride as guests ascend. The doors open and the guide timidly exits, afraid of what could come next. The group enters a room filled with tapestry displaying the story of the Black Cauldron. The guide then describes the film's plot, an integral part of the spiel considering that no one watched the film. A translation from jtcent.com outlines this part of the script. The guide says, once upon a time, the world was ruled by evil. The Horned King, the evil lord, used the Black Cauldron to manipulate and control the soldiers of death. Then, the courageous and pure-minded hero, Taran, deprived the power of the Great Kiln using his Sword of Light, and peace was restored to the world. The magic mirror interrupts the guide once again, taunting the guests and saying, "This is the final challenge.
Oh no,
will good
not
win
the final
or evil
challenge.
prosper? The good will face this challenge with courage. The Black Cauldron is waiting to swallow you whole." The guide then chooses a guest, almost always a child, to carry the Sword of Light into the next room.
Oh, that's cute.
Guests enter the room of the Black Cauldron, with skeletons lying around on the floor. The room goes dark before the fire and smoke illuminate the face of the Horned King, a large, terrifying animatronic that looms above guests. The Horned King addresses his victims by saying the most terrifying anything to ever appear in a Disney anything. He says,
"Everyone welcome. In this Black Cauldron, everything in the world is controlled. Don't be afraid. It will all be over shortly. No one can escape from here and you'll be sacrificed to the Black Cauldron. O Satan's kiln, awaken and resurrect the soldiers of death. Rebuild an army without rivals. The army of death, rise. The devil's servants, go and capture them and throw them into the cauldron. Don't leave anyone behind. The Black Cauldron wants more
Holy
bodies.
shit!
I swear to the death. Ha ha ha. Nobody can destroy me.
Just as all seems to be lost, a light illuminates in the group. The Chosen One and the guide are pointing the sword of light directly at the Horned King.
What's that?
Bro.
Capture those fools and gratify
No wonder
the
they
Black Cauldron.
canceled this
The
ride.
sword shoots beams of light, and the Horned King screams as lights flicker, smoke bellows, the music intensifies, and he is defeated. The lights dim as the guide cheers that they have won. The rest of the group follows suit, celebrating their victory. The sinister music is replaced
Hey, man,
with a
I do not
triumphant
approve of the
symphony.
Black Cauldron,
As a door
okay?
rises, light spills into the room, and guests exit encountering the only portion of the ride to display English, with a sign saying, "Good conquers evil." The guide directs everyone's attention to the tour's hero, placing a medal around their neck.
Aw,
The
that's
guide then
cute.
thanks everyone for going on the adventure before directing them back outside. The Mystery Tour was one of the most unique and bizarre Disney attractions ever created.
That is so weird.
Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter, the 1994 addition to the Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland, which is widely considered Disney's scariest creation ever, warned guests up front of the ride's intense themes. Mystery Tour did the exact opposite, drawing guests in, promising them a tour of the beautiful Cinderella Castle,
Wow.
only to send them on a horrifying chase through the castle's dungeons.
That's fucked
Mystery
up.
Tour was one of the longest attractions at Tokyo Disneyland at about 16 minutes in length. As previously stated, a single sign at the end of the attraction is the only English guests would be subjected to during the tour, unlike most rides at Tokyo Disneyland, which make an attempt to implement English throughout for international guests. The guides quickly learned to warn American and European guests not to ride the attraction because of this. The Mystery Tour officially opened on July 11th, 1986.
Whoa.
Tokyo Disneyland created some promotional material
that
for
the
the ride,
animatronic?
but
He
with the
does
massive
look
crowds that the
scary.
park drew in, the Mystery Tour's success was almost guaranteed. In its first few months of operation, wait times of 2 to 3 hours were
Aww.
common. Tokyo Disneyland would further promote the Mystery Tour by creating this absolutely terrifying walk-around character. My god, who approved this? The Mystery Tour also appeared in a Tokyo Disneyland video game made for the Super Nintendo in 1994. The attraction serves as the final stage of the game, with Mickey running through the dungeons of the castle and passing by familiar scenes to
Whoa.
those that have experienced the Mystery Tour. The Mystery Tour operated for 20 years, with little to no change or notable events. The attraction quietly closed its doors on April 5th, 2006. Guests experiencing the attraction in its final days were each
Aw, that's
given one of the
cute.
hero's medals, as opposed to just the chosen one that held the Sword of Light.
That's
Many have
cute.
speculated the exact reason for the Mystery Tour's closure. The most widely believed theory is that the attraction was too scary for younger audiences, which seems plausible given the ride's dark theming, script, and character designs. The ride was not one of the most popular in the park, whether it be for its sinister nature or its secluded entrance.
Oh my God.
Another speculation for the closure is the attraction's limited capacity and high operating costs. While the Mystery Tour most likely couldn't cycle more than 1,000 guests per hour and did require multiple cast members
Whoa.
performing spiels, this reason is less likely given that the attraction's maintenance costs were much lower since there was no ride system in place. Of all of the speculated reasons, the one with the most solid basis is a theory regarding the structural integrity of the ride and Cinderella Castle. The same year that the attraction closed, Japan increased its earthquake preparation regulations, with a newly required seismic structural check for buildings more than 3 stories tall. The check evaluated the structure's ability to sustain motion caused by earthquakes or tsunamis, as well as analyzed the stability of the foundation. Many believed that additional earthquake support was needed for Cinderella Castle and the attraction, and that in order to meet these new requirements, the attraction would have to be removed and reinstalled. The Oriental Land Company, possibly due to the attraction's dark themes, low capacity, and lack of popularity, decided that rebuilding it would not be worth the time and money. On
I
April
see.
15th, 2011, just over 5
Fair
years
enough.
after Mystery Tour's closure, a new castle tour entitled Cinderella's Fairy Tale Hall opened. The attraction is a lot different than its predecessor. It is essentially a walkthrough exhibit, with many figurines, artwork, and photo opportunities. Disappointingly, there is no continuous story to Fairy Tale Hall. It's almost the exact tour that was promised to guests at the beginning of Mystery Tour before things went awry. While it is unfortunate that such a bold and unique attraction was replaced with a much safer alternative, the addition of Cinderella's Fairy Tale Hall makes perfect sense, and it arguably fits the
Oh
theme
my
and
God.
tone of Cinderella Castle better than Mystery Tour did. Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour was one of the most unique Disney attractions of all time. It is the only Disney attraction to prominently feature characters from the Black Cauldron, and it is one of, if not the darkest Disney attraction ever created. Its unique style has inspired the creation of other attractions of its kind. For one,
So much
Disneyland
baby in
Paris'
these
Sleeping
days.
Beauty Castle
I
houses
mean-
a walkthrough attraction called the Dragon's Lair, which allows guests to go underneath the castle and
I don't
encounter
know.
a massive dragon animatronic. Most notably, a new castle walkthrough attraction that opened with
I think
Shanghai
if I was a
Disneyland
kid
in
and I saw that
2016.
ride
The
and
attraction
I
uses
hear a
similar
crazy
elements to the
skeleton
Mystery
man
Tour,
be
with
like,
more
"Oh,
tame themes and
creatures of
scenes.
Satan!"
Many fans
I
are
would've been like,
disappointed that the Mystery Tour was removed, but a larger amount of theme park and Disney fans are
I'm a baby
unaware that it
crow!
ever existed. With so much focus going to the US parks, it is surprising to many that the most unique attractions are actually those
a
that
baby
exist
crow!
overseas. The Japanese market and the Oriental Land Company pushes the Imagineers to step outside of their comfort zone, and it is in that environment that a new level of art can be produced. The more ambitious the storytelling, the more strong the audience's reaction to it, whether it be negative, positive, or just plain confusing.
Well, that was interesting. Was it scary? No. Fascinating? Yes. Oh my god. Hold on 1 second. I just spilled a bunch of shit. Ah! Goodness gracious. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Man, I spilled medicine. I spilled medicine on my Cinnamoroll mouse pad. And now he's dirty. He's dirty. I had to put him in the wash. He's medicated. I had to put him in a wash and I changed my mouse pad thingy. I have the Vishojo mouse pad now with all girls. Got the new Vishojo mouse pad that came out recently. Alright, here's another one. Oh, it says in this video there are violent depictions and screen flashes that can cause dizziness. Uh-oh. Viewer discretion advised and flash warning. It looks like this is actually a scary video. Please don't watch it if you're mentally or physically What the fuck? What did I watch? That was cool, but... Alright, hold on. By cool, I mean like the animation and the styling. That was really sad. Wait a minute, hold on. Did the girl kill her? You don't want to know the lore? Yes, I do! Okay, hold on. So at first I thought they were friends, okay? And I thought, oh, her friend died. That's so sad. But then it was like, oh, was she never her friend? Oh, she was in love with her? Wait a minute. I don't think she was ever her friend. I think she wasn't her friend. And she imagined that she was her friend because she was in love with her. And then she killed her. And then she took the corpse home and lived with her. Oh my god. Jesus. That's wild. I wasn't scared. I was confused. But it was good. It was creepy. It was creepy, but I wasn't scared. It was creepy. It was creepy, but I wasn't scared. But it's like I'll give it 5 subs anyway. I'll give it 5 subs anyway. That was good. Thank you for submission. Kukita!